First, I'd like to say good morning. Thank you for coming out to day 2 of the CoinGeek conference, everyone who made it here in attendance and everyone who's tuning in virtually. So for those who are new to Bitcoin, and even those who have been paying attention to things going on in the blockchain ecosystem, wallets are a crucial part of blockchain networks and digital currencies. Without a Bitcoin wallet, you can't send, receive, or hold any sort of digital asset. That being said, there are wallets for consumers, and as more enterprises around the globe are using blockchain and digital currency, we're seeing more enterprise-facing wallets come into play. So here, I'm with 3 experts who have experience in both of those areas, both Bitcoin wallets for enterprises and Bitcoin wallets for consumers. So joining me today is Lorien Gamaroff, the CEO of South Africa-based Centbee, Brendan Lee, the founder of Elas Digital, who's just created an enterprise-facing wallet called Signavera, and Alex Agut, the CEO of HandCash. So let's start like this. What features would each of you say make a Bitcoin wallet desirable? What makes a Bitcoin wallet a good choice over maybe another sort of Bitcoin wallet? And Alex, let's start with you.
Hey, good morning, New York. Hello, Patrick. God, I wish I was there. Well, anyway, next time, I'm sure I will be in the next CoinGeek conference. So I think that the features depend on the target audience. There's no blueprint for the perfect wallet. It all depends on the target audience. But a couple of things that all of them should have in common is that you need good ways to bridge it with the real world, especially for deposits and withdrawals. And I would say that consumers also expect instant payments without too much friction.
Nice. And Brendan, you are working on an enterprise-facing wallet. So what would you say in regard to the features that enterprises and businesses need for their wallet to be successful and help them succeed?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. I think certainly I'd just like to echo what Alex said. There needs to be a clean user experience. I think one of the things that's very important is, as wallet providers, is that we all leverage the common tools that are available to us. And in that, I'm talking about Paymail, SPV, and the things that are being developed and released by the Technical Standards Committee, because if we all use those common standards, it means that despite the different market segments that each of the different wallets is trying to bring into BSV, we retain that intercompatibility, and it makes it much easier for people using HandCash or using Centbee to work with people who are using Signavera. But so to answer your question, some of the things that we've rolled into Signavera are the ability to create accounts for holding and spending Bitcoin that have more sophisticated multi-signature permissions. And so that allows us to bring up to 10 people together to create and then use an account with a sort of reasonably sophisticated signing structure, so we can have any combination of up to 10 signatures. So by that we mean 2 of 3, 5 of 6, 8 of 10, whatever you need. And that's just the first step that we see into bringing out real kind of business-focused, script-based account systems. And so that's been one of our major focuses with Signavera. And we're using Paymail to achieve all of that. So it's been great to have those standards to lean on.
Why would enterprises want that multi-sig feature in their wallets?
We actually developed it because we were using that feature in a different wallet, and which did not have Paymail compatibility, and we really found that very difficult to use. And we'd already created these tools for multi-signature co-signing for the token issuance utilities that we built for Elas Plus. And so for us, it was quite an easy jump to go from that to, hey, well, we need this in a wallet. We've already built the infrastructure we need to create that with Paymail. If we're going to use it, it's very likely that there are going to be a lot of other people who are going to use it. And we really see that any large entity that's receiving Bitcoin in any kind of reasonable amount as payment for goods and services, who is receiving that into like a departmental or a board level account where you have multiple people who can control and spend that money, that this is a feature that they're going to want.
Right.
Yeah,
and Lorien, your wallet, Centbee, really empowers consumers where I know they have the ability to top up their wallets at grocery stores in South Africa and use it to pay for a variety of services like some of their utilities and even Uber, if I remember correctly. So what features would you say a wallet needs, especially a consumer-facing wallet that gives them so much power?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. Well, there are a few considerations, some general and some more specific to Bitcoin. But if we just think about the general considerations, it's important when designing any kind of product that even though you might want to be innovative, it's very important to create something that users are familiar with. And of course, we have a lot of applications out there in the world that people interact with on a daily basis. And there are sort of standards that develop where all applications kind of end up looking largely similar. And the reason for that is because people get used to buttons in that in a certain place, or the way menus happen on the screen. So it's very important when designing a product just to make sure that you're kind of following general guidelines and also trying to take the best elements from popular apps out there. And that's what Centbee has always tried to do, is to try and create an experience that people don't have to try and figure out. It's already all kind of self-explanatory based on the popular applications out there. And then, of course, the specific to Bitcoin considerations, we've always wanted people to be able to effortlessly use Bitcoin as a payment system and as a cash.
Something I'm wondering, Brendan, for you as well, is do you see the wallet provider, the companies providing the wallets, really spearheading the charge on the features being implemented? Or is there a bit of a sort of feedback loop where consumers and end users of the wallets, you see them requesting features through various mediums, maybe that's social media, maybe they're communicating with you directly, and then the features get implemented from there. Who would you say is the first mover in that regard?
I think the first mover should always be the wallet provider, because each company that has one particular vision or target audience. For example, it's very different. Even though the three of us, we are wallet companies, as you might call them, we have very different approaches. For example, Centbee is super focused on e-commerce and retail, and we are more into using money into using cash into apps and games. And enterprise usage from Brendan is totally different. So I think you have to steer the boat towards the direction you want to go, but it's very important to get feedback from your target audience. I think that's why it's so important, especially, it's been very important for me in HandCash and in other startups that I founded, to launch something very early, to get feedback with real users, to see them use it. The important thing is that you are trying to iterate with real feedback towards one day finding your product market fit. Because after all, you're building this for a specific audience or market. If you're not solving a particular issue or problem for a specific target, it's very hard for people to actually figure out that you can be a part of their lives.
When Bitcoin wallets were first created years ago, that they were very primitive. Maybe the only features you really had were to send, receive, and hold your digital assets. But there's been a big evolution of the wallet over the years. I know some of your wallets, especially like Lorien, how consumers can spend their BSV in so many places, and HandCash, where you guys have almost a bit of an app store of the apps that are compatible with different blockchain applications. So what would you say are some of the most significant developments that have taken place from where wallets began to where wallets are now, especially in regard to the wallets that each of you have created?
I think what has changed, well, of course, the fact that Bitcoin SV has gone back to the original protocol, making sure that transactions are very cheap and fast with instant transactions. That's been something that's been considerable. I think that's what's accelerated the idea that you can actually use Bitcoin as a cash system. For a long time, for many years, people thought, well, crypto is really for trading and investing, and that didn't help much at all. So Bitcoin SV being able to be used as a cash system, that really makes it possible, especially in a third world environment where people don't have a lot of money and fees count. So that's really what's made it possible for us to now be able to use a Bitcoin as a cash system, and for people to be able to buy things on Centbee for very low amounts. And I mean, if we just think about on Centbee right now, you can top up your mobile data and airtime for in rands. It's about 2 rands. So what is that? 20 cents US cents. So it's that's a very important thing. But of course, because it's a regulatory compliant blockchain, it's, you know, apart from its transparent nature, it has the ability to trace transactions and comply with all the money and payment rules. Then that also makes it easier. You know, we've had a lot of success with our local regulators here, because they have seen now how Bitcoin can be used as a regulatory compliant payment system. And that's really what's going to drive this forward and make Bitcoin useful as cash.
And Brendan, what significant developments would you say that you and the team at Elas and Signavera have seen taken place since kind of the inception of the Bitcoin wallet to where we are today?
I'm going to probably go ahead and discount basically everything that came before 2018 and say that I think for me the biggest thing that's happened is really the BSV alias system, you know, Paymail, and the common standards. And you know, just to go back to that, because I really think that that's so foundational, because what that's allowing wallet providers to do is create a system where, as Lorien was saying, all of that regulatory information, the AML, the travel data that you might need for larger transactions, all of that can be handled very, very seamlessly and invisibly for the users. So instead of having to go through a paperwork process every time you want to do a big transaction, you just go into your wallet and type it in and it gets sent, and everything just happens in the background. And that's a big part of what's happening in the Technical Standards Committee. And I think that's a huge reason why Bitcoin wallets are so interoperable. And, you know, we've had a great time with Signavera sending money to other wallets and sending money back. And we can see that when we put a note in Signavera, it shows up in HandCash. The pictures that we have for our photographs in the different wallets, they also show up. It's all works very seamlessly together. And for anyone wanting to build a wallet or an application in Bitcoin, leveraging that just removes the first 6 months of work that you would normally have to do. And I think that's very huge. And so Signavera for us, really, we came off another project and we decided that this was something that we needed. And if it was something that we needed, it was probably something that other people needed as well. But it was only 3 months for us to build the whole platform and to roll it out and get people starting to use it. And I think having that tool set that we were able to just pull in and start using straight away is a huge part of the reason why we were able to move so quickly.
And Alex, how would you describe the evolution of Bitcoin wallets?
Well, I would say it's something that strictly only has happened on the BSV side of this, fortunately for us, but unfortunately for them. But I think, you know, particularly us at HandCash, I think we have been pioneers in pushing some very aggressive changes, like, you know, ignoring instructions, relegating legacy addresses to a secondary role. We created this more user-friendly handle system. We created a handle system also so our users don't have to take care of the keys themselves. We helped with, along with Money Button, to bring back real peer-to-peer payments to Bitcoin. And, you know, we have also huge improvements in privacy and performance through something that we came up that was called output bills, but it was based on a technique that Dr. Craig S. Wright laid down in an article years ago. And now some of those practices are kind of a standard right now in BSV. Our users expect this, and also I think that thanks of one of the benefits of being a small ecosystem in the beginnings and the BSV blockchain is that it allowed this feedback loop with the node developers. And we are seeing this basically on a weekly basis, where if CryptoFights finds a ceiling on something, they report it to Steve Shatters or whatever, and then for the next release it's fixed or the limit is reduced or whatever. So we are seeing all this great collaboration. I think it has been great overall for Bitcoin wallets. But I think particularly for HandCash, our biggest breakthrough was when we figured out this concept of connecting your wallet to a third-party app. I think it's a very powerful concept, and it's something that could be a game changer that differentiates, what you can do with Bitcoin from things that this is totally impossible to do with Stripe or PayPal or using Visa. We are doing something very unique with this technology, and this is one of these cases, I guess.
And each of you have sort of touched on these features that we've seen implemented over the years that made Bitcoin wallets better, whether that be for consumers and just the way they're looking to use the blockchain or have processes go in their everyday lives, to enterprises who are beginning to use digital assets more and more that need a safe way to store it with a lot of security features. So something I'm wondering is, how would you say these features play a part in digital currency, especially BSV, picking up traction, being mass adopted, getting used by more and more governments?
I've been asked many times, like, why are you so focused on BSV? Why is it that you can't create and release your system for another blockchain? And the answer is very simple. And it comes back to what Lorien said with the Genesis update, where we had all of a sudden we had complete access to all of the scripting tools that Satoshi put into Bitcoin when he first released it, that were, one after another switched off by the Bitcoin core guys. And as soon as all of that became available, it became possible to do really amazing stuff using Bitcoin UTXOs, using Bitcoin script. And we leverage that very heavily in Signavera. So all of our multi-signature accounts are done in scripts that we've designed in-house. There's nothing else really that's like it out there on the market. And the answer to anyone saying, well, why can't you deploy this on BTC or some other blockchain, is that it won't work. They won't accept those transactions because they've locked down the system so hard that it's impossible to actually create that kind of utility. And so for us, it's very simple that it comes down to just really having that fixed stable protocol and access to all of those tools. And that really enables you to be supremely creative and just take it in any direction that you like.
And Alex, how would you say these improvements that we've seen in Bitcoin wallets over the years played a role in getting blockchain, digital currency, and the BSV enterprise blockchain recognized on a global scale?
Pretty much agree with everything that Brendan said, but I can add that we for example, we have always been very anti-cult in all this crypto space. So we've never married a cryptocurrency per se. In fact, we started with BCH and then we moved to BSV, and we had a lot of requests from people, like, hey, why don't you use our protocol? We can pay you money. But the thing is that we cannot build on anything else. This technology is so far better than anything else that is out there. It's ridiculous. I mean, there's no alternative. So things like merchant API, people don't realize, maybe users don't realize how big of a game changer that was, especially for us, because we can guarantee to a much higher degree the zero-conf payments. And, it's all an addition of all these little things and little changes to the base, not to the base protocol, but they just remove all the limitations from BTC in a very elegant way. And I think it's, you cannot compare it to anything else right now. Thresh signature scheme, for example, but that's not something that's unique to Bitcoin. But the cool thing is that we have all the tools we need right now for creating what we have in mind. And we have seen that, people are coming up with token protocols, scripts, smart contracts, it's not just payments; it's beyond payments. So it's very cool, and it's only possible with BSV.
So Lorien, what are some improvements that you've seen take place in Bitcoin wallets from their fruition to where we are today? And how would you say those have helped in regards to BSV picking up traction on a global scale?
So, Bitcoin, Centbee has always been about the the fact that you can use Bitcoin. And of course, we did start in South Africa here. And what we've done now is, we are very proud to announce that we've gone global. So the ability now to be able to spend your BSV at hundreds of major retail locations around the world, online, offline, at Walmart, Target in America, all the way through to Asia. That's what we're very proud to announce now. So this is really what's been a very important thing about Bitcoin, is where can you go and spend it? And so if you download Centbee today, you'll be able to now go into the shop section, and you'll be able to buy retail credit at a whole number of different locations around the world. And this is something that's really been lacking in Bitcoin, is once you've got your Bitcoin, what do you do with it and where can you spend it? So I encourage everybody, if they've got BSV, go ahead, check out the options that you have. There's something for everybody there, from games to retail, fashion, food, a whole lot of different things. And that's just a kind of a selection in the US. But of course, being able to top up or at least acquire Bitcoin, this is a very important thing. If people want to use Bitcoin as cash, they need to be able to spend it. In South Africa, we've got hundreds of thousands of retail locations where you can go and take cash and you can go and put it into your Centbee wallet. But now we're very proud to say that we've got now the ability in-app around the world to be able to buy Bitcoin with credit and debit cards. So please go ahead and try that as well. And then another thing is we're using Bitcoin as a payment rail for cross-border remittance. And we're seeing now, along with our regulators, we've been very pleased to be part of a regulatory sandbox to test this. This is also showing how Bitcoin can be used as a payment rail and not necessarily actual cash that is sitting in somebody's wallet. So these are the things that are very important. If you want your users to be able to use Bitcoin as cash, you've got to be able to make it easy to get and easy to be able to spend as well. And because of that now, we're also very proud to say that we've graduated out of South Africa. We are relocating to London, and that means we now have a global reach. This is going to be something that anybody can use in all these different countries, and we really think that Centbee has the ability now to bring Bitcoin to the world, to allow them to use it as cash in a safe way, in a regulatory friendly way. And I think that this is going to be something that really drives Bitcoin adoption going forward.
And I'm remaining conscious of time here, so we're going to wrap it up with two questions. The first is, what's next for each of your companies? And Alex, we'll start with you.
Our focus in the next phase is making sure that we have a great platform for game and app developers. We are redesigning our app, especially we're calling it the 3.0 version. And right now we are going to focus more on the app gallery and also creating a better user experience for our desktop and desktop and laptop users on the web browser. And well, of course, the long-awaited Fiat ramps. We wanted to debut them here in this CoinGeek conference, but the regulatory approval is taking way longer than we expected. But we are still positive that we'll be operating in a few markets in a matter of weeks. And well, we are also going to be expanding the developer dashboard with some new features like the wallet, for making payouts and other demanded features easier for developers, and a surprising new remarketing tool that we kind of invented for creating better relationships between the Connect app developers and their users. And well, I think that's going to be really, really cool.
For Elas, within Signavera, obviously we have a whole raft of features that we want to incorporate into the wallet, and really that have enterprise focus. I won't go too much into that, but really a lot of it focuses around intra-business communication. And one of the things that Sinavera users will see pretty soon is that we will have within every account a chat box where the people who are co-signers within that account can actually post messages to each other. And because of the federated nature of Sinavera, we actually deploy it into your domain and it operates on your systems. We obviously have no ability to see or know what those messages are, and so it's a very private system. But the next thing, obviously, is to start building on that enterprise integration and providing more features that we think will be valuable for enterprises to have that leverage Bitcoin. And that's a lot of that is going to tie back into tokens, and Sinavera comes from a token project, and so it is fully token ready. And we're ready to speak to anybody who wants to use Sinavera about how to integrate a token system with that, and to use those tokens in ways that potentially maybe only we at the moment would know how to do, because really we're not tied down to a protocol with the way our tokens work. And so we can actually make them do things in script very easily that are pretty unique to us. So I won't say much more than that, but yes, that's the direction it's heading, and we're very excited to kick off.
And Lorien, what's next for Centbee?
Well, we're on a global expansion plan, and so we want to continue to make it very easy to be able to top up your Bitcoin, your Centbee wallet, everywhere in the world. So we'll continue to add more options in local areas, local countries, so people can do that. And then, of course, we want to make sure that Bitcoin can be spent on every single thing that your heart could desire. So we'll be continuing to add products into the wallet so that it really does become the world's most useful wallet.
And that's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank our panelists for taking the time to share their insights with us, and everybody in the audience and at home for tuning in to our panel about Bitcoin wallets for both consumers and enterprises. So thank you.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.